All right, let's get started. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Hartford Virtual Ski Spectacular. This session is snowboarding dryland strength training for beginners. My name is Guaida Gomez Garcia, and I am the Senior Events Manager at Move United. We would like to thank the Hartford for their long-standing commitment and support and allowing us to bring you this virtual opportunity. Before we get started, I wanted to go over some housekeeping items, and I know this is a reminder for many of you, so bear with me. All attendees are on mute to minimize distractions. Please feel free to turn on your video using the camera button or the start video at the bottom of your screen. The sessions will be recorded, so if you don't want your video to be shown or you haven't signed our media waiver, please make sure to hide your video, or you can sign the media release waiver that is going to be shared on the link is going to be shared in the chat box. Closed captioning is enabled for this session, and attendees are welcome to adjust the font sizes as needed. We definitely want everyone to stay connected and engaged, so when you are sending any messages through the chat, make sure you adjust the settings to all panelists and attendees and introduce yourself to the entire group. And without further ado, I turn it over to Kep.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining in today. Thanks, Guaida. Thanks to everybody else behind the scenes at Move United for helping put all this on. This has been an incredible and unique journey for Ski Spec. Usually we're on snow right now. Usually we're out actually just getting back on snow for a second session, having a wonderful lunch and everything else that we're used to. This is a unique set of circumstances that we're dealing with, and hopefully we can help you all at home navigate through all these challenges and prepare you to get on snow. Like she said, we've got the dryland training program here, and part of the dryland training for snowboarding is just going back to a few things that we've echoed before, is being mentally and physically prepared for getting on snow. There's a lot of stuff that goes into your preparation off snow to get prepared to get on the snow. And one of the main things we try to start with is building endurance during the off season. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview, even as beginners. If you're preparing for a ski season or a snow sport season, you're going to try to build an endurance base during the off season, which is typically your summer months, maybe even into fall. You're still trying to do a lot of cardio workouts, trying to really build endurance that'll help you survive the season. One of the big things that you want to think about is maintaining that cardio and that endurance for the season. And that's going to do a couple things for you. It's going to help minimize injuries, and it's going to help you maintain some of your strength and your ability to ride or ski throughout the season, especially for snowboarders. Carlos, a couple of guys that are on the Zoom right now can attest to this. It's a long, grueling season once you get into getting on snow for up to over 100 days, trying to train and trying to make it to that World Cup level or Paralympic level. Even if you're out riding recreationally, you still want to try to maintain some sort of fitness during the season, so you can ride and have as much fun as you possibly can. With that being said, a couple of things that we really think about is trying to stay injury free, and you can knock on wood all you want. As an adaptive athlete, some of those bumps and bruises that you take if you fall can linger and stay with you for the season. So there's a lot of other things that go into that maintenance, and we try to encourage a lot of our athletes to start out with a stretching program. So get into a daily routine, daily habit, wake up, make your coffee or tea or drink some water or whatever it is that you're usually doing, and then try to take a little bit of time and just stretch. While you're stretching, that gets your mind and your body kind of awakened for getting out on the hill and tackling your snow sports. A couple other things that we also like to encourage are seeking out some yoga. We just had an incredible session with Jane. She walked us through some yoga training and some guided meditations, and yoga, Pilates, dancing, just anything to have some movement in your life other than skiing and snowboarding is really important, just to keep your body moving, just keep your mind actively engaged and connected as well. Couple other big things that once you kind of get into skiing and snowboarding specifically for a season and for a longer season, thinking about doing weight training, trying to build some strength, doing a lot of lower body workouts, as well as upper body workouts, just to prepare your body head to toe for dealing with the rigors of the season. Core strength is one of the big things that we really impress upon our athletes. Doing some core strength at home can just be anything from doing some sit-ups or planks or anything that's just kind of keeping your midsection engaged, and that all has to do with different types of disability. If you have CP, if you have an amputation, if you have anything that's going to affect some of your movement, it's going back to figuring out some of these exercises and strength and conditioning components that work best for you. And that's really what adaptive snowboarding is about, is adapting your style and what you have going on that'll work best on snow. Everybody's got a little bit of a different story in the adaptive snowboarding world. There's really no athletes that are just exactly the same cookie cutter. You can go across the board and say this athlete is the same as this athlete for injury or disability. So it's all really just figuring out what works best for you and how you can push yourself to be a better athlete. As a beginner athlete, one of the things that you can work on off the snow is balance. There's some things that you can do. There's some balance balls. There's some skateboards that have setups that you can kind of work on balance. There's Bosu balls. Those are also balancers. Even having the giant exercise ball, we have a lot of our athletes that jump on those. They'll try to work on core stabilization till you can kind of get your feet up and work on being able to stand upright on one of those giant balls, the exercise balls. And that's something else that really kind of can help mimic some of the movements of being on snow and snowboarding. All in all, there's really no replacement for snowboarding except snowboarding. And once again, we're trying to encourage everybody that's out there to take all these components that we're sharing and then hopefully be able to put it on snow at some point this season and be able to be the strongest, best athlete you possibly can. We've got a few things that are set up.
Bear with us. Cap, you're on mute. There you go.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry about that. I was swapping over screens here, so not sure how many people signed up to get the exercise box. I see a hand go up. That's awesome. I've got mine back here. With that, we've got the exercise ball there, which is amazing. You can use that for dodgeball. That's something else that's good for reactive training. The exercise bands are also really important. These are all tools that you can use. And then the small ball is actually really, really good for helping work out knots and stuff that you have in your body sometimes after a long day on snow. But this kit essentially is a similar kit to what most of our higher end Paralympic athletes use for training. So with all this being said, let me get into a couple more things here. So real quick, I got into adaptive snowboarding on accident. I was snowboarding, I shattered my femur back in 2002. Previously that season, I had met a woman, Amy Purdy. She's a bilateral below knee amputee, amazing athlete. She was here at the program where I work, which is the Adaptive Sports Center in Crested Butte, Colorado. I met up with her and some other snowboarders that were here through some friends, and just got to see them out on the hill snowboarding and having a great time. And then about a month and a half later, I shattered my femur snowboarding, and that was an abrupt end to my snowboarding season that year. Met up with Amy again during the summer. She was back out here for some other programming, and really just got the chance to see how adaptive athletes can adapt and overcome for whatever's going on. In the meantime, I was dealing with a leg that I had to have surgery on and have to put back together, and I was becoming an adaptive athlete at the same time as well, for just kind of putting things back together. I played soccer at a really high level growing up. I played in college for a Division I team, and I played semi-pro soccer for a while. So my life as an athlete had kind of been sidelined for a little while with this big injury. And, momentarily in my life, I didn't really know what I was going to do going forward. And that was something that meeting some of the adaptive athletes through our program here really showed me how to adjust some things with life, how to move on for things in life, and really how to adapt and overcome. And that's one of the biggest things. It's your own personal journey. Snow sports is something it's truly amazing because it gives you an opportunity to get out, get some freedom, get some wind in your face, challenge yourself, and kind of have a sense of normalcy, I suppose. If you're out in the snow and you're sliding around and you're at the same speed as everybody else that's on the hill, even if you're in a mono ski, I mean, some of the mono skiers that are out there are skiing faster than anybody else out on the hill. And just seeing that and being a part of that and a part of that community is something that's really empowering. And anyway, that's something that really changed my life. I started coaching with Adaptive Action Sports with Amy Purdy and Daniel Gale and their program for a while. I've been an instructor and a coach here with the Adaptive Sports Center for a long time, and I've also worked with a lot of military programs. I'm part of Team Semper Fi, and I've been with Move United for well over 10 years now. This is something that really has helped me grow. Coaching and working with athletes is something that's been a passion of mine for a very long time. I've been able to travel around the world. I've been to 3 Paralympics. The first one was Vancouver, just to check out some of the sports. And we were trying to get snowboarding into the Paralympics. I was a coach with the Brazilian national team in Sochi 2014 and was part of the U.S. team in 2018 in Korea, which was an amazing experience. And to see some of our athletes that we've worked with be able to move their way up the ranks from kind of lower level snowboarding, grassroots snowboarding, never ever status, to being able to race in some national competitions and then race international competitions has been truly remarkable. Like I keep going back to Carlos because he's on the chat here. Carlos has got an amazing story for himself and for his family, and seeing how hard he worked to overcome many injuries and get on snow and be able to share experiences with athletes from around the world has been incredible. So back to the hard work, all the dry land training that you put into play really is something that can be it can be fun. It could be unique to you. If you're trying to get in to using some of the equipment that we have available, it's all about being creative and utilizing the things that you can to make it helpful. If you're an amputee, you might have to, and you're doing weight training, you might have to figure out something to put a wedge under your foot to get your foot flat. So when you're doing squats or you're doing deadlifts or anything like that, that you can kind of get that muscle workout that you really are looking for. There's a lot of other aspects of this that a lot of people don't think about. Is once you do start to get into the higher levels and you're traveling, you're living in hotel rooms and you're on the road quite a bit, to maintain some of that physical fitness, you really have to put together some hotel room workouts. You might be using whatever gym that they have available to you, which could be maybe just a treadmill and some free weights or whatever it is, and an exercise bike. But those are the things that you have to stay motivated for really just keeping your own personal goals set for your own personal physical fitness. You know, we kind of joke about it, but there's even working out in a hotel room. I just put this on a scale. This is this chair here is 10 pounds. So even just getting in a curl set for curling a 10-pound chair is enough just to get you moving. And same thing, using the space you have available, whether it's your room here or if you're in a home gym or in a full workout facility. There's so many ways that you can be creative and challenge yourself to be physically fit and mentally fit before the season starts. So let's get at a couple things here, and then we're gonna touch base on a few more things before we get out of here. We're also gonna have a few minutes at the end of this for some questions and answers. So with some of the equipment that we have, this is also one of the most utilized pieces of equipment that we have for our athletes. Most of our Paralympic athletes will travel with a foam roller, and these are really good for taking care of your hips, your hip flexors, your IT bands. If you're on the ground and you're able to roll these out, this can help. This can really help for longevity for your body. Just when things get tight, it helps to get some of those kinks worked out. This ball here that everybody got in their kit is amazing. If you pump it up quite a bit so it becomes a real bouncy ball, it can be used for a couple different aspects of just some reactionary stuff, throwing it off a wall, being able to catch, trying to work on some things. Hand-eye coordination is something that people don't really think about for snowboarding, but that's all part of your balance. It's all part of your mental focus that you want to have for getting on snow. It translates all the way down to your feet. This ball, I didn't pump up all the way, and I was working on a few things here with this for trying to just have 1 foot balance on the ground, 1 foot on the ball, and just trying to think about some movements that would be mimicking being on snow for snowboarding. And you can kind of roll your foot. There's a couple different things you could do just to help with your core, to keep things engaged, go in different directions, trying to roll that foot a little bit. It's all gonna get your body set and your mind set for being active. Some of the band work that we've got, I took one of the bands here and I tied it together. The other band I left open, and there's a couple different things you can do for that. If this band is tied together, you can put it between or under your feet, kind of shoulder width apart, and you can work on some squats. So right here is going to be a motion that's going to start to work on your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes to help give you some strength while you're at home if you're working with this. Some of the other things we're going to do with this one also is to take it, put both feet inside and start to do some lateral movements. Lateral movements back and forth here. You can take small steps across. You can take small steps forward, small steps back. This is all just movements that are going to help strengthen your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, which are going to make your snowboarding experience a little better off because you've been building that into your system. The open-ended band here is going to be good for doing some stuff, some upper body stuff. We do a lot of rotational work with snowboarding. So back to the core, a lot of this rotational work here is engaging everything from your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, all the way up to your chest. We want to have a nice stacked position when we're snowboarding. These bands, there's a lot of different exercises that are online that you can kind of check out that'll help you out for a lot of this stuff. Once again, we'll go back. This ball here is really good for working on knots. If you lay down on the ground, this hard ball right here can do the same work as a 30-minute masseuse. It'll really help you out for getting some of the kinks out. And then these are awesome. The jump rope that we have set here. One more deal of just getting in a full cardio workout before you're really getting set for the season. Get your base in. These will count how many times you jump and rope. You can come up with different variations for all these. And over our next couple sessions, when we get into our higher level sessions, we'll cover a lot of that stuff. I know we're going to try to keep about 7 to 10 minutes for some questions and answers. If anybody out there, yeah.
Perfect timing. We do have about 7 minutes left, and we have had some questions come through the chat. Maybe we start off with that, and then we invite, after we get through those, we can invite others to come off mute and ask questions directly, if that's okay?
Sure, sure.
All right, let's start from the top. We had a question coming in from our friend William, and he asked, what do you recommend for blind snowboarders for balance?
That's a great question. One of the best things that I've found for working with VI snowboarders for balance is trying to really just be in tune with your hearing. If you can work on a few things, typically if you're a VI snowboarder, you're going to have a guide that's out with you. Depending on your visual impairment, your guide may be fully hands-on, where you're hand holding with somebody, so you've got them as a connector, which can help with some of your balance. If you've got a little less visual impairment, we've got some systems, some riders that can listen to a bell, that can kind of navigate their way towards a bell or on voice commands. That works really well. We've got some headset systems that are also really good for helping communicate with an athlete, and some of that reassurance seems like it's something that helps with balance. You know, once again, you can go back to checking out like a Bosu ball, which is this rubberized ball that's stable, but it still just kind of gives you a feeling of unbalancedness, but you're not going to fall over. Some of those balancing skateboards that they have that are out there, those roller systems are really, really cool for balance as well. But I honestly think that just kind of getting in, making sure that your hearing is as good as possible, and kind of being aware of your surroundings is something that's probably one of the best things to try to work on, as you start to get on snow. Once you get on snow, there's the sound of the board, there's the sound of wind, there's a lot of other things that kind of take over. So it's really just kind of being centered working on a few things at home can definitely help with that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And I think, William, I know you have a few other questions that have come through, and we certainly will follow up with you directly to get those addressed.
For sure.
Tisha did ask, what would you say is the best off-season cross-training sport / exercise for snowboarders?
So this is an exciting question for sure. Some of our top level snowboarders do anything from surfing to skateboarding to BMX, mountain biking, downhill mountain biking, kayaking, rock climbing. I mean, there's so many things that are out there that you can do for cross training, which really tie in to golf. I see that just came up. There's so many things that tie in. I personally believe that to be a well-rounded athlete, even to be a professional athlete, you still have to have so many other sports that are involved that are part of your life to keep you mentally and physically fit. So that's a great question. Like I said, I know skateboarding is one of the big ones for a lot of our athletes. Actually, one of our Paralympic guys, Michael Spivey, got this thing called a mountain board, which is it's kind of like a snowboard with these big rubber wheels on it. And he was riding that quite a bit because he lives in San Diego and wasn't able to get up into the mountains to do some other things. But there's so many sports that are out there. Weight training in off season is a big one that a lot of our athletes do to make it to the Paralympic level. Like I said, there's even yoga, having your mental state and physical state in the best place possible. Those are all really, really important. So it's all personal preference, really. There's a ton of sports. Just enjoy being an athlete and have fun with it.
Great advice. And you're right. I've seen a lot of skateboarders and surfers become awesome snowboarders. So very cool.
True.
The next question we had come through the chat was, how do you train to become a member of the Paralympic team? And I think it ties a little bit with another question of how do you get involved in community programming? So whether it's the Adaptive Action Sports or Crested Butte program, what would you say is your advice on that?
So through Move United is kind of the umbrella of overall the adaptive programs. Wherever you live, check it out locally. There's got to be some programs that are pretty close to you. Usually during the winter, even if you're in some areas that don't have as much snow, there's usually within a few hours on the East Coast or somewhere out on the West Coast, there's places that you can get involved with for different types of programming for skiing and snowboarding and snow sports. There's different levels as well. There's a lot of amazing recreational programs that are out there that can provide never ever training and equipment rentals and all those things just to get started and just see if you like it. Hopefully you fall in love with it, and if it kind of is that bug that you really that you get that really just takes over, then you can try to start working your way up through some of the other programming options that are out there. Adaptive Action Sports is a great snowboarding program. Created some world-class athletes and Paralympic champions. The NSCD is another incredible program in Winter Park. Mike Shea, Carlos, a couple other athletes have gone through that program over the years. NAC in Park City's got an amazing program, and a lot of world-class athletes have trained there. On the East Coast, there's some other programs too that still more on the recreational side. But if you get involved with the program recreationally and you get hooked, your options might be moving on to another spot where they have snow a little bit longer, or more athletes that are involved, or whatever fits your needs the best. Like I said, Move United is a great option of navigating through and finding the programs that are closest to you. There's military programming that's out there that's pretty good as well. If you're in a military, civilian programming is, like I said, it's whatever your best fit, whatever's closest to you. And just check out as many programs as you can. In my opinion, it's kind of like going to a hamburger joint. You might go to one place and you think it's a good burger, and then you go to another one and you're like, oh wow, this is a little bit better. There's always some place that's the best fit for you. And as far as training for the Paralympic side of things, it's once you get involved with the grassroots and you kind of get through the never ever stages and you're learning to carve and really ride, you're getting comfortable there. Some of the next steps are getting into the higher level programming, and then maybe making that commitment to living in a ski town for a year or whatever, which is a big financial commitment as well as emotional commitment. Let's say you live in Florida and you're not used to living in snow year round. Just putting on all your equipment and gear and living in the snow is a whole new experience. And we've had quite a few athletes that have had some success with snow sports world that never thought they would be in snow sports, that live in drier, warmer climates. So anything's possible. Just check out and utilize some of your local resources there through Move United and in our programming, and see what works best for you.
Great advice, Kep. And we'll make sure to share the link to our chapters or member organizations. Jeeb, if you don't mind adding that to the chat box, that would be awesome. I know we're a couple minutes over time, and depending on how everybody's feeling, we can go a few more minutes and open it up for additional questions. If you need to hop off, certainly we understand, but Kep, do you want to stay on for a few more minutes?
Yeah, and just a quick wrap up just for dryland training. Your strength and conditioning that you put into play during the off season is going to pay dividends throughout the season. That's the hard work that you do. When I was a college athlete, we worked harder in the off season than we did during the season, so we could maintain that throughout our season. Your balance is not only your physical balance, but your mental balance, your mental wellness, maintaining your relationships with your friends and your family, and having that as an athlete is one of the most important things you can do. So when we're talking about strength and balance and all these other aspects, this is still one of the best parts of the game, is to make sure you're mentally balanced and that you're staying motivated to be an athlete. That's one of the other things. Stay motivated with your training, your dryland training, and that will help you throughout your ski season, your snow season, and it just gets you prepared to shred. We're snowboarders. We're a little bit goofier, a little bit different, I suppose, and that's kind of what makes snowboarding unique. So always keep that in mind. If there's any other questions, it'd be awesome. If not, we'll continue in the next couple sessions and hope that everybody gets a chance to join in for those as well.
If you would like to ask a question, you can either raise your hand using the hand icon at the bottom of your screen, or if you just want to raise your hand like this, I can come off mute. That's totally fine as well. Feeling good? Oh, we have William. Let me unmute. There you go. Hello, William.
I apologize for going and asking 1,000,001 questions, but I'm newer to the snowboarding world and newer to the blind community as well. But I also struggle with my hearing. So, Kep, you were saying that your hearing is going to play a huge factor. What would you recommend in regards to, like, you wearing a headset if you can't hear a bell, or some type of adaptive device that may help you be able to hear your guide? Because my hearing aids don't work when we're out on the slopes. What would you recommend?
Right. Some of the headsets that are out there work really, really well. On windier days, it can be kind of challenging. There's a little interference, but a headset is really one of the best ways to have that connection with your guide, and to be able to have an extra set of eyes, an extra set of ears, which can give you more confidence for your balance. And that's something I would definitely suggest. As a visually impaired rider, your trust a lot of times is within your guide. So that's one of the things too, is reaching out to a program, trying to find a guide that you can connect with, and that you kind of build that working relationship with. Because as a visually impaired athlete, a lot of times you have to put the bulk of your trust into somebody else, and that's something that once you kind of have that relationship, you can really start to push your limits as a snowboarder and really kind of get a better sense of balance and a sense and feel for the snow. And that's one of the biggest things I would say is to make sure you can find a program that's willing to work with you, see if they have headsets, and then also trying to find that guide that's really the connector. It's like a dance partner. If you're stepping on each other's toes all the time, it's probably not a great experience. So that's definitely one of the things to keep in mind, is a guide can help you break through some of those barriers. Thanks for the question. And I can always follow up with any other questions and try to link you up with some other folks to help out for sure.
Awesome. Love a thumbs up.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Move United and the Hartford for helping facilitate our amazing new ski spectacular. And I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable with these Zoom meetings. It's getting there. Hopefully, you guys can stay tuned and join in for a couple more.
Yes, absolutely, Kep. You're doing awesome, and thank you for all of the knowledge and tips and tricks you've shared today. I put in the chat box a quick survey. We'd love to get your feedback. If you can take a few seconds to complete it, we certainly would appreciate it. And we continue to encourage everyone to stay engaged and share your favorite ski spec memory or any thoughts you had throughout the event on social and hashtag ski spec. Otherwise, we will see everyone tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Bye.